with Golden State going up 3-0 in the series against the Mavericks, are the Mavericks essentially dead in the water right now?
Without a doubt. It's painful to watch. It's kind of annoying to kind of look at a team and see what we've been able to put out for this entire postseason, and it's actually a shame. I am quite upset. I don't really have many emotions, as Kyle can allude to. I answered the call pretty numb today, so it is what it is. I'm just looking at this and I'm saying, we didn't knock down shots. I've been saying it all postseason. Don't really care about the backlash I'm going to get. I told you so. Not Kyle. I'm saying in general. Like I told people that eventually we were going to come across a series where the shots were just not going to fall. We are not a consistent jump shooting team. We take the most threes in the postseason. We were a top 3 or top 4 team in the NBA, took the most threes in totality of a season. So I'm looking at this team and I'm saying, it's inevitable. We never were a consistent shooting team. And when you live and die by the three, there are going to be games like this. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we shot about what, 28, yeah, 28.9% from the 3-point line. We took a total of 45 threes. Once again, over 40. It's just getting ridiculous. From the field, we only shot 30 of 75, so that's 40% barely, and that's kind of with including some garbage time. So I'm frustrated. No team has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit in postseason history, so it's not necessarily looking like it's in the cards for us. I can't even necessarily say that I'm happy with this team, or I'm proud that we made it this far, because I was just telling Kyle before we actually hit the record button, this isn't the team that beat Phoenix. This isn't the team that was able to lock up when it mattered the most. This is not the team that was able to hit clutch shots, because we're not hitting offensively consistently. And in that game too, when we should have stole that in Golden State, when Luca had 42, I believe JB had 30, and then Reggie Bullock had 21. We end up losing because we blew a 14-point lead at half. This team, in and of itself, outside of Luka Doncic, isn't offensively sound. I know I give Luka a lot of shit, but without Luka, I know for a fact we wouldn't be in this position. So before people start to come at me sideways and say, um, I don't even like Luka, I mean, regardless of what my opinion is on the player himself, I know for a fact that he's the one carrying us through this postseason. So it is what it is. But outside of Luka scoring 40 and obviously Jalen 20 Dinwiddie, sorry, I just drew a blank, scoring 26, we had no production. Bertans had 2, Powell had 3, Bullock had 0. Bullock was 0 for 10. Dorian Finney-Smith had 9. Ntilikina had 0. Maxey had 0. We can't just rely on 3 people. We can't just rely on one person. It's a team effort. It's a team sport. Our defense was atrocious. Golden State didn't even shoot efficiently, and they were just having a bunch of open looks. They hit some key shots for us to get put out of the game. In specific, the Jordan Poole shot within the last minute or so. He hit a 3 in the corner as we cut the lead to 5, and it's just a story of this series, man. We have not been playing efficient. I'm getting really, really, really frustrated with Luka Doncic's defensive performance. I told Kyle, I told Mike, the guest of our last show, that it's just getting frustrated. The Mavericks Twitter, the Mavericks community tends to defend him. Um, Bad shot selection, turns the ball over, doesn't get back in transition, doesn't get back on defense. Golden State scores every time. Stops moving when the ball isn't in his hands. The offense kind of sits still when the ball is in his hands. The second he comes off the floor, the ball moves perfectly. Hit an open 3. The second Luka hits the bench. It's insane. So, yeah, Dallas, it's over. Game 4, wrap it up. I'd rather get the sweep than just prolong this, because it's inevitable. Honestly, I'd rather just have Golden State take this time to rest and just wait to see who comes out of the East. Call it what you will. It's not giving up. It's just based off of what I've seen. I do not believe that this team has anything left to give. Um, and I do believe that they are just a couple of pieces away from actually being competitive. Kyle and I were talking about the potential offseason moves that might have to be made, but overall, going down 3-0 to a team like Golden State, it's blood in the water for them, man. They're just waiting for a time to capitalize, and it's unfortunate. We got to get swept on our home floor, but I just truthfully and honestly would rather just stop the pain. It's just frustrating to watch at this point. I know these games are getting closer, the last 2, but an L is an L at the end of the day, and I'm just not happy with how this team has performed as of late.
I mean, the way that I see it, Kev, um, I'm not as doom and gloom when it comes to the Mavericks, as you've outlined. When I look at this season in particular, I mean, let's just kind of face it, the Mavericks are dead in the water. I mean, going down 3-0, it's just an insurmountable comeback at this point, damn near impossible, I would say. it'd be one thing like if the Mavericks showed me a little bit more competitiveness in these last two games. They, I will say in game two that they definitely had a good performance, but it just wasn't as good as what Golden State was able to put out in game two, especially in the second half. And when you focus on this game three, I thought that the Mavericks and Golden State, they were going back and forth in that first half. They were really just kind of trading buckets. And then once again, Dallas gets off to a very slow start in the third quarter, and Golden State takes advantage of it. And then, you get a freaking 8 to 9 point lead going into the fourth quarter in favor of the Warriors, and they never looked back. So when I look at Golden State, they look like the team not only that's going to go to the NBA Finals, they have a very good chance to win the NBA Finals this year based on what they have with the lineup that they have assembled. When it comes to the Mavericks, it's like Kevin outlined. The entire team is essentially built around three players: Luka, Jalen Brunson, and Spencer Dinwiddie. That's not enough. Look at Golden State. Golden State has Steph, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green, and then sometimes they get good production from Kevon Looney. Like sometimes they'll get decent production from Otto Porter Jr. Sometimes, granted he went down with that foot injury in Game 3. But when you look at Golden State has multiple weapons at their disposal. Like if one guy, like for example, if Steph Curry is having an off game, you could see guys like Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, and even Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green step up to kind of fill the gaps as far as what Steph may not be performing up to a level that we are typically accustomed to, just because he might be missing more shots than he typically does. When it comes to the Mavericks really don't have that, because when you look at the Mavericks, I mean, if Luka doesn't drop 40 points, Dallas is probably going to lose by 20, 25 points, because the production that they're going to get from Spencer, Jalen, and then maybe some other players like Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith, it's just not enough because, let's face it, Reggie Bullock and Dorian Finney-Smith are just not reliable shooters. When you look at Golden State, they have reliable shooters outside of Steph Curry. Andrew Wiggins, granted, I know he has a checkered past when it came to his tenure with the Timberwolves, but he's played admirably with Golden State so far. You could look at Jordan Poole. You could look at Klay Thompson. Like, these are bona fide shooters that you have to respect because they can knock down 50 to 75% of their shots when they're really on. With the Mavericks, they just don't have that at their disposal. And, I understand the whole Luka frustration from Kevin just because, I mean, look, this is his team. And he probably knows his team a lot better than I would ever claim to know it. But the one thing that I will say about Luka is he's 23 years old. And this is definitely a learning experience. There's no doubt in my mind. I think there's definitely some elements of criticism that are warranted when it comes to Luka, especially the whole complaining aspect, because I think that's something that is actually a distraction that the team has to take into account moving forward, because it cannot be an issue after this season. This needs to get solved sooner rather than later. But despite whatever sort of criticisms that you could throw at Luka's way, this is one of those learning experiences. And there's probably going to be a multitude of experiences that Luka's going to have to go through before it finally sets in. There's a way that you are going to be able to win a championship, and the way that they are going about it right now, it's not working. The formula is not correct. But I imagine as time goes on, and as Luka gains more experience, and maybe the Mavericks try to add some more veteran God, what am I trying to say here? More veteran
Veteran
players on the
pieces.
teams, yeah, exactly, to the roster. Maybe get a little bit more reliable jump shooters. Maybe get a big, because that's the one thing that the Mavericks have really been struggling to address, really since the departure of Tyson Chandler, which was over a decade ago. So there's definitely going to be some moving pieces with the Mavericks. But when it comes to Luka specifically, you're going to have to take these losses in stride. I remember I was telling this to Kevin a couple days ago. I'm a Lakers fan. And granted, I was relatively young when the core of like Kobe Bryant and Shaq were put together. But Kobe and Shaq, when it came to the playoffs, they got swept by the Utah Jazz and the San Antonio Spurs before they finally started winning championships. It takes time. And I do believe that Dallas has a very good chance to win a championship with Luka Doncic at the helm. It's just with the way that it's set up right now, with the current cast of players that they have around him, it's not enough. Maybe if they bring in somebody else in the future to add some depth, and also the experience of taking failures in stride and being able to not only bounce back but use them as fuel, use them as motivation to lead to future success. I think that's something that's going to work in Dallas's favor. Not not this year, not next year, but potentially 2, 3, 4 years down the road. Because I think that Dallas, I'm still of the mindset that Dallas can win a championship with Luka. It's just there are going to be some changes along the way, and these learning experiences I think are going to be valuable from here on out. But I wouldn't be surprised if there are other failures that come along the way before Luka gets an NBA title. So it doesn't look good for this series. I think this series is over with. If Dallas wins Game 4, good on them. At that point, it's just really to save face. But this should be wrapped up by either Game 4 or Game 5. Just the Warriors are too good, and it's just the Mavericks are just they're just not ready. But I give them credit. They got to the Western Conference Finals when nobody was expecting it, and that in and of itself is an accomplishment. But there's a lot left to be desired, and I think I'll just pretty much wrap it up there.